Hi, I am Moses Iremia, and I am on my biggest regret. I have a lot of regrets, and these are things I really want to talk about to help you out there who might have been living in these particular lives, so as for you to know that there is hope for you to get out from there. And also, I will need to also talk about the little effects that I've gotten from those past lives that I want you to know, so as to help you get out from that particular thing, whatever it is or habits that you are in. So I would start accordingly, right? So the first regret I have is going as far as getting charms to get ladies, for business, and for fame. So all this happened in the city of Michigan local government of Adamawa State. Back then, when I was in Adamawa State, I remember all this happened when my dad died, and they sent me from the state capital Yola down to Michigan local government to Baza. Actually, it's the town of Baza, and there I got to the town of Baza is mixed up with Fulani people. And one of these days, I got in contact with this particular guy. Personally, I'm an extremist. I want to get into something. I don't want to do something on the surface. I always want to know how this is being done and get deeply into it. So when I met this particular Fulani guy, and he told me that, you want to get ladies? I can give you something, actually. I was like, wow, I want it. So when he gave me, I remember he said, just rub it on your face, and any lady you meet, just give her this sign that I'm doing like this. Just give her the sign, and then begin to talk to her. She would oblige, and she wouldn't deny that. So I collected it. I tried it. I went one of the parties in Biang. That Biang is a community under the Michigan local government under Baza. So I got to that party ground, and I tried it. I rubbed it on my face, and I went and met this lady that I felt this lady wouldn't agree with me no matter how, because these things happened when I was still a teenager. So we go as far as getting ladies that are far advanced than us in class and in age. So I went and met this particular lady, and I told her hi, and when she looked at me, I gave her this sign, and she started smiling, and I was like, really? So it works? Wow, this works. And I was like, how are you doing? And can I get to know you? And she was like, yeah, why not? I said, can we move out of this place? Why not? And she followed me. And I was like, wow, this thing really works. And I took her off. And before I realized, I made an attempt to have sex with her, and she could not say anything. And I actually had sex with her. And like a dog, I actually had sex. And getting back, I went to look for that particular Fulani guy. And I was like, it works. Like in Hausa, for those who don't understand, it works. And he was like, I told you, I know what I'm talking about, and all of that. So me being an extremist, I wanted to not just get the charms, but know how to make the charms. And I told him, I want to know these things. I want to know how to do it. And he was like, are you sure? Can you pay the prices? I said, I can, why not? So okay. So he started taking me, mentoring me into making charms. So at the time, I could actually make charms for guys to get ladies. There are those things, I don't know their names, but when I get to the bush, I could actually pick them. Till today, I still have the memory of those things. I could pick them, put them together. There are some kind of incantations you do on it, and then give a guy to rub on his face and all that. So this thing happened, and I based my life on this. That's everything that I need to do involve charm. So I could start selling sugarcane, and I will use this charm. I remember one of these days, he will ask me, get this charm, get this thick blanket, put it, and then get this charcoal with fire, put it on it, and just smoke yourself. As soon as you get out, the way smoke is that every other person that passes around will perceive it. That's how everybody will perceive your business. So I will just get normal sugarcane, and this place we have 5-6 people selling sugarcane. But the way smoke is, that's how somebody will come past the first, second, third, and come and meet me, get my sugar. My sugarcane doesn't spend 30 minutes. Like I could buy plenty and put them together. 30 minutes they are gone. I'll get another one, put them 30 minutes they are gone. And I based my life here. It got to an extent where these charms, I go personally to get people's wives, those ladies that got married newly, like going to charm them, get them from their husbands. I could feel what I'm talking about. It's so heartbreaking, and I regretted this life. I regret going there. It was so bad. So this was how far I got to in getting charms, in doing businesses, and getting ladies, sleeping with ladies around, and all of that, and also concocting the charm myself. So I think this is the first regret I want to talk about. The second regret I want to talk about is getting into hard drugs and alcoholism. In between those periods, when the charm was working, I felt now I'm a top earning guy and I need to get high, because guys come to me to look for charm, for business, to look for charm, to sleep with ladies and all of that. So I need to get high because I'm a big guy now. And can you imagine that this thing happens when I was a teenager? Like, it wasn't where I wasn't wise enough. I was a teenager, but I had wisdom that is beyond this natural wisdom. Beyond, because I could remember I had wisdom beyond natural wisdom. So that's when they were coming for this. So I now dive into alcoholism. I started taking hard drugs. This experience, I know many of us have experienced it. So I took alcohol and bought this local alcohol, this Burukutu, Pito. I was a master there. Then graduated to taking bottles. From bottles, it wasn't enough. I started taking hard drugs, started taking this tramadol, diazepam, Exol, to the extent where I started getting this Tutolin, this codeine, like Tutolin with codeine, Emzolin with codeine, because those things, the alcohol they were not high in me anymore. So then from there, navigated to getting Suta. That Suta is what they use in mortuary. Is a chemical they use for dead bodies in order to make the body stiff, and it's highly, sophisticated with chemicals, because it's something if you put it in your hand, you know that within a second it disappears. It gets dissolved, and we started taking it. So we sniff it, put in nylon and sniff it, blow, and all of that, and because it was very expensive to get. It was very expensive. So while that was going on, it's hard for us to get it at the time. So from there again, I started taking solution. I know some of you may know solution. The thing they used to use for making patch, motorcycle, bicycle, and all of that. So that's we put it in white nylon and begin to sniff it. That is also very dangerous. At the time, we started sniffing petrol. I remember there was a period of time that I went to sniff. I went and opened the tank, my uncle's tank, and I was just blowing air and getting. I was sniffing. I was so high, and I could remember my uncle coming, and the uncle came and was like, "Moses," and I said, "Don't quiet. Don't tell uncle that I'm here." I was actually talking to my uncle. I didn't know that was my uncle because I was so high. So got to an extent where I take petrol. I was taking petrol to get high. Now, all of this now, when I got exposed to this and I get deeply into it, then I begin to formed a ghetto. Yeah, I formed a ghetto. I begin to form, so these guys begin to feel accommodative around me. So they begin to come, because they were coming for charm. Remember my first regret? So this is the second one. So when they were coming for charm, they now found out that, this is a sweet life, man. This guy is wild and all of that. So they started coming for this. So I was ordering this from places, people, mortuary attendants that had access to this, ordering them, and then we'll start selling them. Not just selling them, we are sniffing ourselves. Most times I get it we sell it in those little perfume. There's one perfume, they call it Touch. That's very, very small bottle. That small bottle was like 200-300. As of then, 300 is not a small money. So it's very expensive. But we'll take those small bottles, we'll take them almost 50 in a day. 50. And it was so bad. It was so bad. I continued like that. Before I realized I had formed this ghetto. And I was a teenager, and I had guys of 50 years old, 30, 40 coming to that ghetto. I was a ghetto dealer myself. They used to bring this tramadol in rolls for me, Exol, Diazepam in rolls. They bring these codeines in rolls, and they bring this Suta now. They bring it in big bottles. I sell them. I had guys, and we were so wide in the city of Baza. Every other person knows us because if it is getting ladies, we get the top ladies, and we had access to get the top drugs and all of that. So this continued, and I would need to touch this a little in this alcoholism and drugs, because after a long while, I noticed that I had effects in my kidney. So my kidney was infected, and I knew the pain I passed through severe pain. At the time, I couldn't sit down, and when I sit down to stand up was whole lot of troubles, and I go to hospital. There was this period I had to cry, and I was crying. I said, Lord, I don't know where this is coming from, and I can't trace it. Unknowingly for me, it's actually those drugs and those chemicals I was taking. It's affected my kidney. My doctor once told me that one of your kidneys is not functioning. I was like, God, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to go? Like, how would I go about this? But in all this, I thank God that I'm not free. I'm talking this way because I'm feeling the pain of all this, and I'm actually crying inside. So I'm actually regretting. As I'm talking to you, I'm regretting it. It's not that I regretted it. I'm still regretting that life till now. So that's how far I got on drugs and alcoholism. I took marijuana once, and I remember taking that marijuana, and the first day I took it, they used to say that when you take it, you feel high, you feel you're walking on the air and all of that. So when I took it, and I felt that way. I remember getting to a well, and I was looking at this well, and I was seeing my shadow inside. So I tried to use this signal, like calling somebody when you can't call somebody. So I was doing like this, and my shadow in the well was doing like this for me, and I was like, this could be someone that is in the well that fell down inside and is calling me. You remember, well, it echoes. When I say come, and then I will hear my echo, come. And I knew I would have died then. So I started making an attempt to enter the well for me to rescue my shadow. So that's why one guy saw me. Moses, what's happening? I said, there's a guy here. The guy is dying. And he said, wait, let's come so that two of us can help. I said, okay, no problem. He came. So where's the guy? I was pointing at my shadow, and I was like, Moses, what's happening? And when I recovered from that, I was like, God, is that how my life is just going to be? Just imagine just dying like this, cheaply, like just dying. So this was how far I got to. This happened all in the city of Baza, when I was in GDSS, Baza Government Day Secondary School, Baza. And there's a place called Abuja. And that place is a former classroom that they are no more using. So when we get there, for anyone that watches this that is conversant with Baza, Abuja, we'll get there. We're the top training guys there, because I come with my loads of drugs to school and all of that. Because of those drugs in school, we don't listen to teachers, not at all, because we get high before entering into class. I can remember this teacher once told me to get out of his class, and I told him that he is going to get out of the class, not me. And I was like, really? And he asked me to do frog jump. I did, actually. When my guys saw me, and they were like, this is our boss doing frog jump. That's how they sprayed. And before I know, the guys came with cutlass, knives, a lot of irons, and just harmful objects. And they entered into the staff room, locked the staff room inside. They entered through the window, locked the door, and then began to beat up the staffs. They beat the hell out of the staff. Before I realized, hillocks of policemen entered the school because of us. We are not afraid. We are standing there. Because we are high. So we're standing there. We told the policemen, you can't try us. We will kill you. And all of that. They called one of our guys to get to the police station. We wrote a letter. We're giving you 3 days. If the guy is not released, we are going to this police station. At long last, they released us. But that's how far I got to in drugs and alcoholism. And just like I told you, it affected me. It affected me so bad. this kidney issue. I stayed with kidney issue for 3 years, or 3 to 4 years, and I was battling with it. I could not eat the normal food people are eating. I can't drink pure water. It's an expensive life, They said blah blah, transplanting the rest and all of that. But I can tell you that there's hope, because I'm standing here and my 2 kidneys are functioning well without anything, without transplanting or anything. But if you are there right now, I can tell you this is very bad, because I would have died in this process. I would have died. I knew many times where I would have died. So this is also one among the regrets. The third regret I want to talk about is getting into pornography and masturbation. Right, this started, it's so hard to say some of the things, because I still feel, permit me to use the word, I still bleed inside. I still feel the holes that those things have affected in me. So I started watching pornography. Okay, I had a book. I've written a book on getting out of addiction, actually, pornography and masturbation. So we're going down to the river in a place, community called Biang, B-I-A-N-G, under Michigan local government. So when we were going there, I remember my friends were saying, they used to call it blue film then. There's blue film, you can watch it. You can get styles and all of that. And I was like, really? Yeah. I was like, okay. My mind kept telling me that this is not something you want to get into. Like, no, I want to try it. So first time I watched pornography, it was at the river bank. And there's something about the river bank. That river, there are spirits there. So let me not get into that. But we'll get there. There's this pressure. Watch it. And you see, if you're out there, you will notice that one of your greatest error is that there is a voice always come to you. Watch it. Try it now. Watch it. Try it. That's how it all starts. And I watched it. And then the guy that introduced me to it said, watch it. You can use soap when you're high, like when you get erected. You can use soap and masturbate yourself to the extent of ejaculation. You release the sperm, and that's all. And I was like, wow, this is easy. This is fine, because you remember that charm, that first one. Now that first one, the urge was there and all of that. But at this point now, I didn't want to be sleeping with people's wife. I didn't want to be sleeping with ladies. I didn't want to be having sex. So I now felt this pornography and masturbation is the easiest way I could help myself. So I entered into pornography and masturbation. I could masturbate 1, 2, 3 times in a day. I could watch. Most times I do night subscription, and that night subscription I stay from 12 o'clock till around 5 o'clock. I watch different styles. I didn't know that it was affecting my mind, it was affecting my brain, it was affecting me so badly. I continued like that in pornography and masturbation until I got to Yola. And in Yola, there was no access for me because I was with my mom this time around. But back then in Biang, that's in Bazamichika local government, I was with my grandma. And living with grandma, they give us free access, free to do whatever you want to do. So at this time around, I'm with my mom in Yola, actually in Jembutu. And if you know Yola, you know Jembutu. Jembutu is the heart of bad life in Yola. So this was where I got to. And pornography and masturbation continued, and at the time, there was a period of time I masturbated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in a day. I remember it was Sunday afternoon after service. After this masturbation, that's how I blotted out. Like, I masturbated. I was not supposed to have this kind of, the number of ejaculation I had at then. So when I had that, it affected every part of my life to the extent I blotted. My brain went off. And I knew that I was going to die this time around, because hot afternoon, but around 12, after 12, thereabout, and everywhere became dark. And I was like, what's really happening? You know that thing you watch in Nigerian film generally, where somebody died and maybe a witchcraft or something, and you see somebody coming out from his body. I actually experienced that. Yeah. Because that's just because of masturbation. I masturbated to the extent that I died, and I knew when my spirit left me. And I knew I could see journey into the land of the dead. Like I journeyed there. I was hearing voices, welcome, welcome, welcome. I was seeing things like some spirits like zombies. I was seeing people that died long ago. There were many. I was like, so is that how I was going to die? Did I just die? Is that how people die? Like, I don't understand. And I want to cry, but how will I cry? Because I'm not in my body. And so I stayed there for almost 30 something, because I remembered that the last moment I could remember was around 12, just not up to 20 minutes after 12. So either 14, 16 minutes after 12. I could remember that. I could not remember. I can't recall anything again until few minutes to 1. So I said, let me approximate like 40 minutes off of myself. And I knew I died because I wasn't breathing. The body was just lying there. And I could hear voices saying, no, you can't die like that, you can't die like that. And I believe, not just because of myself, but because of you, so that you will hear this and you will be helped. You come out from this particular lifestyle, this habit. That's why God had to preserve my life. I came back. When I came back, I knew I died. But do you know, despite all, I couldn't really come out from it again. I continued. But it affected me so badly and all of that. I got infected with a lot of infections, transmission, sexual infections, and all of that, because of I didn't know that doing masturbation actually gives infections. I didn't know, because I masturbated like that and all that. Before I knew, I had to be putting my hands in my trouser, because I could not stay without itching that sensitive parts. It's already used to. So I had to be doing that consistently, like that for long. I could remember that this sexual or this pornography and masturbation had stayed long, to the extent myself and my guys we have to plan to look for animals in order to exercise, should I say, express this sexual urge. We have to look for animals, maybe all of these heavy goats that the more they are getting heavy with pregnancy, the more their reproductive organ get expanded. I can remember me and my guys who had to go and look for that in order to express ourselves, like express this sexual feeling, this sexual urge. It was really so bad. I got in there and I'm going to, in this next regret I'm going to talk about, I'll tell you how I come out from this. So the next regret I will talk about is isolation. So this now led to isolated life, because I felt this is part of it. This time around, I left that Michika local government. I was in Yola. So in Yola now, I was now going to church. I was a good Christian. I was becoming a good Christian. And I felt, how am I going to tell anybody that I masturbate? And I know many people, this is the first time they are going to hear this. And I'll be proud of it. I know my aunt is not aware of this, and she's going to hear this for the first time. I'll be proud of it because God has helped me, even though it's a regret. I'm still regretting currently, right? So I was isolating myself from people. At the time, I could not talk to anyone, but I was dying inside. I was really dying inside. And I know you may not be passing through the addictions I'm talking about, but if you're living an isolated life, that you could not talk to someone, you have depressions and all of that, but you can't talk to someone, I'm telling you now that you are caging yourself in a prison. That's why I imprisoned myself for extra years. So at this time, I gave my life to Christ. I could remember in Yola, Living Faith Church Yola, one of these times my aunt invited me there because I was a Catholic member, so she invited me to Living Faith. So I didn't know what born again means, I didn't know what to give. But in Catholic church, we do go for confession actually, so all of that. Now, in Living Faith Yola, I went there and they called altar call. That's how I went out. So I gave my life to Christ. When I gave around 2013, when I gave my life to Christ, but this life continued. I still continued in pornography and masturbation. Why? Because I was living an isolated life. Yeah. So I remember times where service would be going on and the urge would be strong on me, like, God, how will I do this? I I would just excuse myself like quickly and run to the restroom and then go and masturbate myself there and come back to the church and be like, oh, I've messed up again. How am I going to go about this? It's eating me up. I'm dying. I could not control it. It was so bad. I had to, day after day. I used to tell my guys then, in our ministry, I tell my guys that I gave my life to Christ many times, because when I gave my life to Christ on Sunday, by Sunday evening I had already collected a life, because I was going to still live those bad life. I could not control it. Why? Because I was living an isolated life. So this happened in Yola, after in Jambutu to be precise. So I could use soap. I know many of you know that, most of you that are in there, you know, this is where the teen hallmark. Use soap because it gives, it slips, so it gives easy accessibility. I use soap. Some people use cream and all of that, oil and the rest, because they want to have that. So I lived that also, and it was so hard to come out from it because I was isolating myself from people. I was thinking, how will I let people know? How will people know about this? So at that period, I was privileged to stay with a pastor, and that was when the transformation began. So I started feeling, if I don't talk to anybody about this, I'm going to die here, because I know I had died at this first time. I know I had the experience of death, or let me say near death experience, or let me say leaving my body. I had this experience two times, and I was dying. So this time around, we had meeting. There was a meeting in Makodi, and to be precise, Remnant Christian Network. And I went to this meeting. This is IEC, International Eagles Conference. When I went there, and they preached about this pornography and masturbation, and they said the first way to get from it is to talk to someone. Make sure you talk to someone first. And I was like, how will I tell somebody? Because how will somebody know that I used to masturbate? It's going to be bad. Well, I could really talk to someone. It doesn't matter how it's going to be. If he's dying, let it be. Let me just talk to someone. Than for me to die secretly, it's better to die openly. That's why I now took a step. I spoke to someone. And when I spoke to someone, the person told me that the life you lived, you have already tied your soul. And I hope you know every sexual activities is a soul tie with any person at all. If you have sex with 3 ladies, you've tied your soul with 3 ladies. If you have sex with animals, you've tied your soul with animals. You masturbate, you may feel, because some people say it's me and myself. It's not true. You are tying yourself to a spirit. You cannot have a sexual satisfaction alone. There's a spirit there. So he has to tell me that your soul has been tied to many things, and you need to go through deliverance process. And I was like, I'm ready, because I know as at this time I'm dying. As at this time I was already becoming, I was somebody in church. I was holding a post in church. And how will I was the president of youth, vice president of youth, sorry. And back then in Catholic Church, I was a brokerage, I was altar servant. Like, you know what it means to have an altar servant? I was the president of altar servant. So we move with the priest together, like we are on the blessed altar together. So how will I tell somebody that I'm this and all of that? But at this time, I had to open up, and I told him, and he said, it's okay. He prayed with me. When he prayed with me, he told me there are a lot of discipline you have to do. There's a lot of restrictions you have to put to yourself. In fact, he told me, drop internet phone aside, use this touchlight phone for now. And he gave me many things like that to do. Stop using my phone, because at this time, I could use my phone and then a naked picture will just pop up. I know you must have experienced this. When a naked picture pops up, that's all. I'll start feeling, I'm high already, so I want to go and masturbate myself. So he told me, drop your phone. He said, then friends you live with, keep them off. I kept all my friends off. I dropped my phone, and he subjected me to prayers and to, remember I'm talking about isolation. He subjected me to prayer and accountability. He told me, be accountable to every step. I'm not guaranteeing you that it's not going to happen again, but whenever it happens, be accountable. So at the time, I would try 1-2 months without masturbating, and then I'll get there again. I'll report myself, put me through again, and then get back. But to the glory of God, I'm now free from those things. The effect is bad. After getting free, let me tell you the truth, and I'm on a life, I cannot lie to you. till today, I'm not married. Till today, I still feel many times it takes the mercy of God, the grace of God to keep me. I'm actually a pastor, and you know what that means. We're exposed. It takes the grace of God to keep me. It takes, because I've already been exposed. Even this morning, I had a strange lust, want to sleep with somebody. You out there, you feel, let me try it. The greatest mistake you make is by trying it. The day you try it, you've locked yourself already, because it is an endless journey. It's an endless. God Himself has to help you. But there's hope, because for me to be a pastor, you know all that. All these things I just mentioned, for me to be a pastor means that there's hope for you. Means that it doesn't matter how far you've gotten to, there's hope for you. So that's how I gave my life to Christ, and I subjected myself through discipleship, and God helped me through those periods. Now, the kidney effect I had was after I gave my life to Christ. So the effect now started happening even when I was no more there. So you may feel like the effect is just right there. It's not right there. Even as last year, I had issue with my kidney, early last year. But the mid last year, I knew God did a miracle. My kidney are restored. Since then, I've been fine. And this sexual exposure, it's one hard thing, very hard. Every day by day, you have to be struggling with lust. You have to pray. You have to ask. You have to tell somebody around you, man, bros, I'm high now. Please help me. And you have to make sure you're around people, because sexual lust, sexual addictions thrive in secrecy, and accountability is one of the major answers to that. That's how I gave my life to Christ. I subjected myself through the process, and by the grace of God, today I'm free. And in fact, one of my greatest passion is to the teenagers and the early youths, because I noticed that majority of them are actually indulging in one thing or the other here, and I've put it upon myself. That's why I'm not afraid. I'm not scared. I'm not shy of sharing this testimony. I put it upon myself that I will use my testimony to talk to people out there. You that is listening to me, my testimony should encourage you to get out from there. If I know some people might feel, can I get out from this? You can. I know you made other attempts, because I met a lot of people that say, I tried, it's not going. You can. To your trying, make sure you're accountable. That's the best thing. Make sure you're accountable. So I want to live my life, committing my life to make sure that I get people out of addictions, out of all these regrets. So, lastly, truth to be said, I am regretting those lives. I'm regretting all these things I just mentioned to you till today. I know that the testimonies are affecting people positively and it's helping others get out, but hey, I regret it. And see, if you go there, you will never come back the same. You will never come back the same. Whenever you get there, you will definitely come back with an infliction, with what I used to call it potholes in your body, in your soul. You will never remain the same. So don't try it. If you are listening to me and you've been thinking about trying, don't try it. And if you are there, I advise you that find a way out, because you are dying in secrecy. You are dying. One of the effects of these things is pornography and masturbation can make you not to conceive, like as a lady, and as a guy can weaken your sperm to the extent that you have low sperm count and you can't produce, you can't become anything. I know someone that did that to the extent that he became impotent today. But you see, God has helped us and God will help you. Finally, I want to say a big thank you for biggest regrets. I mean, this is a big opportunity for me. I love, as the day of sharing this, I don't know when you're going to get it, but as the day of sharing this, I heard about biggest regrets a day to this day. And I was like, do we have places like this? And it was a young lady, very young lady, was telling me, yes. I was like, she said, do you want to share? I said, why won't I want to share it? I said, I want to do it, please. I want to do it. And I had a lot of activities I would have done today. I was supposed to be somewhere where I said, no, if I have a place like this is the right place to be, because there are a lot of people out there that are dying and this is what they are lacking. So biggest regret, I want to say thank you. I really appreciate this privilege, this opportunity for me to be on the stage here. I count it a big privilege and I am not taking it for granted. And I'm really proud of you. And if you're out there and watching this, I want you to share the handles of biggest regrets. Share it. There are many lives out there that are looking for this particular thing. Like when I told you, I just had it yesterday and I'm here today. And I want to personally commit myself to making sure that in my own end, I promote this community. Biggest Regret is a community, a whole lot of community. And I also, biggest regret, I'm saying this, I also want to be part of you. I also want to be part of you. I'm really, really privileged and I appreciate God for this. I appreciate you for giving me this privilege to come and share my testimony and to share my biggest regrets in life. And I know that the community is going far. It's going far. You can support them, please. You can support them. I'm recommending this. Support them. I know many would have, if you come across this, many people that calls me Apostle, Pastor, and all of that, when you see this, you'll be like, wow, Apostle is here. Yes, I'm here and I want to be here. And I want to even meet you so that I'll bring you here also. You need to come and share your own if you have those regrets. Thank you so much, Biggest Regret community. I really appreciate it. God bless you.